Hello everyone. In this video, I'm going to discuss about persistent and non-persistent HTTP connections. Like these are two different types of connections like that the HTTP can follow. So we'll discuss about like differences between both of them. And if my videos are helping you a lot, do not forget to like the video and also subscribe to my channel. So that it also motivates me a lot for like making or uploading further videos in the future. So client server communication typically consists of a series of request and response. Take example of this. When you go to browser, you type google.com, then you press enter, then you get a page for search. Then again you type something for searching. Let's say if you want to search some query, you search that. Again you keep on doing that, right? You keep on doing many additional searches on Google. So it typically consists of a series of request and response. In HTTP, the first step is establishment of the TCP connection. This is very important. So in HTTP, before actually sending the request, before the browser actually sends the request, first it will establish a TCP connection using three-way handshake. I'm not going to discuss three-way handshake here. That is a part of TCP, or transport layer. We will discuss that in transport layer, not now. But do remember that first the browser has to, or the client has to establish a connection with the server. Then only it will send the request. Now the question here is that should one means should the client or should the browser use one connection for the whole communication? And as I told you, there is a series of communication that typically happens between browser and the server. So should the browser only use one connection for the whole communication, that is also called as persistent connection, or a separate connection should be used for each request response pair, or this is also called as non-persistent connection. So take example of this. Let's say if you are opening google.com, let's say in the first go on this browser of Firefox, right? So first what will happen is, in this case, this browser is going to establish a TCP connection first with the google.com's web server first. Of course, now you press enter. After establishing the TCP connection, it would have then send this a request and it has got the reply now. So let's say if you want to search here, what is HTTP, let's say, if you want to search this query. Now, again, a second request will be sent from the browser, right? Because you are making another, request here for another search query. So now, should this request be sent over a new TCP connection or the same TCP connection that was used for opening google.com? Should that be used for this query also? That's the question. So if you are using the kind of same connection, like the same connection for the whole communication, it's called as a persistent connection. But if you are going to open a new TCP connection for the second request, then it's called as a non-persistent connection. HTTP by default uses persistent connection. So in HTTP, if you are using HTTP protocol, so if you have let's say made a connection to google.com, it will keep alive that connection, for some time. And if you make further request for google.com again in some time, it does not have to again do a TCP connection again. It will use the same connection that was established before. Also, HTTP clients and servers can be configured to use non-persistent connection also. Like you can configure them to use non-persistent connection also if you want to. But by default, typically HTTP uses persistent connection. Also, let's now look at why HTTP uses persistent connection. What are the advantages of using it? So let's try to differentiate between persistent and non-persistent connection with the help of one example here. So we'll be walking through like steps of transferring a web page from server to client for the case of non-persistent connection first, and then we'll also see the steps for what happens in persistent connection. Now let's suppose the page consists of a base HTML file, and let's suppose the page consists of a base HTML file and also 10 images, and total you have 11 objects here because one is the base HTML file and you have 10 images. So total of 11 images that's lying on that server, like whichever website we are hitting. Here it is www.sub.sumschool.edu. This is the website we are hitting or server we are hitting. So these 11 objects are stored on that server. First, you have to fetch the HTML file. In the HTML file, there will be a link of 10 images. Then the browser will fetch the the resource like these 10 objects from the server and render it on the browser. Now let's see what happens when you use HTTP with non-persistent connection. So HTTP client first, of course, will initiate a TCP connection on port number 80. Since we are using HTTP protocol here, it will establish a connection to port number 80 on that server, and the connection is established, let's say. Then the HTTP client sends a HTTP request message to the path slash some department slash home.index, because first we want to fetch the base HTML page, because in the base HTML page you have all the links to the images. So first the browser will send the request for this base URL. Then HTTP server receives the request. So of course, the browser had sent this request that I want this resource, that is some department home.index. Now the server will receive this request, it will process it, and it will send a response, HTTP response back. And also it will tell the TCP to terminate the connection. So because we are talking about non-persistent connection here, in this case, the server will also tell that, okay, now close the connection. Now, HTTP client will receive the response and the TCP connection will be closed. Now, the above steps will be repeated for all the other 10 images also, serially or in parallel, which can be configured in your browser. You have already faced one of the base HTML file. Now, in that base HTML file, there are 10 images. Now, the browser has to make request for all these 10 images to the server. Either it can do it serially or parallelly, but this is non-persistent connection. So for every connection, like for fetching every image, it has to establish a separate connection, TCP connection with the server to remember this. So total, how many connections the browser will be making to the server? How many TCP connections like browser will be making? It will be making 11 connections here, because you have to fetch 11 resource, and this is non-persistent example, connection example. So for fetching every resource, it will be establishing a TCP connection. So total of 11 TCP connections will be established in this case. So this is the example, like a kind of chart for this, flow chart for this. So first part is initiate TCP connection. So client is here and it is initiating a TCP connection here. And TCP connection actually includes three-way handshake. So this is one part of three-way handshake. And of course, then the server will reply back. So this is the second part of three-way handshake. It can send the request file, like it has to request for a file, this one, right? Some department home.index. It can send this request along with the third part of the three-way handshake. So there is some flags here that the client or server both needs to set up for this three-way handshake. So what client will do is in the third part, for the third way handshake, it will set the flag also, what flag is required for the third part of three-way handshake. And it will also send the request file also that it wants to get from the server. And then it will send this. And after that, of course, server will receive the request. It will process it and serve it, and it will receive the file. Also, the connection will be closed. So how many like the RTTs for round time trip? So here, if you see, two RTT are required. One RTT for like establishing a kind of TCP connection itself, and one RTT for then transmitting the file itself. So two RTT are required in case of non-persistent connection. For this is for one object. For 11 objects, how much you will require? You will require 22 RTT. Now, what is disadvantage of using a non-persistent connection? Now, a new connection has to be established for each object. And what happens whenever a client establishes a new TCP connection with the server, every time some TCP buffers and TCP variables should be kept open, like on both the sides, on the client side also, on the server side also. Indirectly, I can say that some resources are being used on both sides, server side also, on client side also, like some memory and some CPU are used for like each connection. Now what is happening here is each separate connection is eating away some resource of both client and the server both. And for web server, it will become very difficult, right? Because web server is not only for you, it is also handling other million requests from other clients, like google.com is being used by a lot of other people also, like they're also hitting the same server. So it will actually get a lot of traffic, and you are also increasing the traffic by making like different connections for each objects. So a lot of resources of web server will be getting used, and of course that will place a burden on web server. And as you have saw here, two RTT for each object, like two round trip time for each object, and for total of 11 objects it will be 22 round trip time overall. That is, well, let's see what happens when you use a persistent connection with HTTP. Now what's the difference? Now a single connection is established between client and server. So initially a single connection will be TCP connection will be established between client and server. Now each object like request and response communication happens on this same connection. So let's say in the previous example, we had 11 different objects. Now the request and response for all those 11 objects will happen over this same TCP connection. And here request can be made back to back without waiting for reply. This is also called pipelining. So it's not that, okay, let's see if I have, let's say first the browser has sent the request for the base HTML file. Now it does not have to wait for the reply from the server of that, like whatever file it has requested. No, it can again fire another query if it wants to, right? So let's say what will typically happen is, in this case, in this example, what will happen? It will of course send the request for that this file that was there, some department home.index. It will send the request for this. After this, it of course it will wait because it cannot make any other request for now. Once it receives that base HTML file, that base HTML file will have like links to 10 images, right? It will have the links to 10 images. Now the browser, what it will do is it will not wait for like, okay, it will first send like request for one image, and it will not keep waiting for that, like the response from the server for that image. No, it will not do that. It will directly fire the request for all the 10 images, maybe back to back. It will do it, right? It will do it in pipelining way. That's what it's called, pipelining. It will not wait. Then what will happen? Response can also be sent back to back from a server. Server also will not wait. Okay, let the client fire some another request, then only I will reply. No. Once it has got the request, it will, once it has the reply, it will keep firing back on the client side. Like it will give the reply to the client side. TCP connection closes if there is no activity for particular amount of time interval. So of course, this I told you, in this case, what is happening is the connection is being maintained for some time till there are some requests or response ongoing. But let's say if the browser finds out, or the server finds out that after, let's say, even for 1 or 2 minutes there has been no activity over this connection, then they may close it. They may negotiate and close this connection. Default mode of HTTP uses persistent connection with pipeline. Also think about how many RTTs will be required for this when you are using persistent connection. So of course, in the first phase, you will be establishing a connection. That is again mandatory here. So one RTT is here, but you will not be doing this again. You will be doing this only once. So you will be establishing the TCP connection only once. After this, you can just request for all the 11 objects that you have. So you can make the request for all of that. So you will totally make like this one RTT is for making that request for object. So for 11 objects, you will make 11 RTT plus one RTT for establishing a connection. The total RTT here is 12 RTT itself, or 12. So the time required for opening this website using persistent connection, if you see, is a lot lesser than if you were doing the same using non-persistent connection. So that's a like huge amount of time that your browser and server is able to save it. Now, for example, if you see here, I have made some requests to youtube.com, and if you can see here, there is one important thing here. This is connection header. If you see, this is from the response in the request header. If you see, so the browser is basically telling the server that do not close the connection. Like, so of course I am requesting for this website youtube.com, but after you have replied back, right? Like after you have replied me back with the response, do not close this connection. Let the TCP connection be there. Because in YouTube, what will happen? You will open YouTube. And of course, you are after that you are going to browse separate videos there also, right? So why to close the connection and then establish again when you are requesting for a different video? Why to do that? So let's keep the connection alive and keep communicating over the same connection. So it will save a lot of time for both browser and client. Also, in a separate video, I will show you using Wireshark, like how this happens actually. Because in this example, in that example, I will show you that after the first connection, a new connection is not going to be established, like for youtube.com or google.com. That I will demonstrate with the help of Wireshark in a separate video. And in the next video, I'm going to cover HTTP cookies, which is very important again for, in terms of HTTP, cookies is also a very important part of it. So we'll discuss that in the next video. Thank you.